goodness, I cannot believe there's so much more on the test versus what I learned in my everyday job.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is That's Kitty. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about pharmacy. I know I had kind of stepped away, but I wanted to kind of come back and prep you guys for taking your test if you hadn't already. So if you're interested in finding more about how to pass the test and a few tips, please continue watching. So just a little bit about me. My name is Kenny and I have been a pharmacy tech for a little bit going on 5 years now. I've been certified for the last 4 years. If you guys haven't seen any of my pharmacy videos, make sure to check them out here. But all of my videos come from the pretense of me not going to school, because I don't believe that you should have to go to school to become a pharmacy tech. I believe if you get the opportunity to learn on the job and you are a hard worker and you can study, might as well do that. No reason to pay money for a job where someone else doesn't have to pay and you end up making the same amount. So that's just a little bit about me, but today I wanted to talk to you guys a few tips on how to pass the PTCB. So hopefully if you guys are already pharmacy technicians, this is a video for you. This video is for someone that already kind of understands the ins and outs. PTCB is just the certification that allows pharmacy technicians to be able to either compound, do IVs, do retail. It gives us a backing and it tests us on our skills to make sure that we know what we're doing. If you're interested, let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first thing that I would recommend, but I believe after doing hospital, working in a private pharmacy, and then also working in a compounding, I do believe the best type of pharmacy setting that is going to prepare for you for this test is going to be retail. If you live in a small town and you don't have access to learning on the job, the other option is to go to community college to learn. This is not really going to teach you how to do your job on their everyday basis, but this is going to help you prep for the test. They kind of give you all the odds and ends on learning the 9 categories that are on the test. If you weren't aware, there are 90 questions and there is a scale range from 1,000 to 1,600, and you just have to kind of fall in between there. There's all types of different videos on YouTube telling you how they score and all that stuff, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't really get into that. Just try your hardest, but I understand that things are getting hectic, especially because pharmacy is a thing that is never gonna go away. All these tips next are gonna be for people that already have the job. So first thing that I would recommend is to ask your job, do they have PTCB training? Because there may be a situation where you can just meet with other pharmacy techs and a pharmacist and just learn the criteria. They may be able to offer you free resources like books, tests, free resources online. So that is something I would definitely check out if I were you. That is the way that I was introduced to studying. I went to a study group within the district that I worked for when I worked for CVS, and it ended up being very, very beneficial to me because it opened my eyes, and the pharmacist was able to let me know, okay, this is what you should pay attention on, this is what you're strong in, this is where you're weak in. Now going into figuring out how to kind of understand what to pay attention to. Like I've mentioned, there are 9 categories on the test. Of course, do you have all the time to learn all 9 categories? No. So my next tip is to play your strengths. Know your strengths. If you know that you're good at brand names, why focus on that? Don't focus on the things that you already kind of have a concept on first. Of course, you need to kind of wrap them all around before you take your test, but the first things that you should be focusing on are the things that you're not used to. So that is one thing that I would definitely recommend is whenever you get your resources, i.e. books, online practice tests, or if you're just kind of skimming through a book at Barnes & Noble, I would recommend to focus on the things that are unfamiliar to you. So next thing, as far as resources, I would recommend do not pay for anything just yet. do all the free resources. There are free sites that allow you to take free PTCB practice tests. The reason why I say don't spend all this money, because say, hey, what if this is not a career that you actually want to do after you take the test? I just believe in using all the free resources that you can. That's why I make these videos for you guys. So a few ways to get free resources is to, one, look online, go to Google, type in PTCB training or PTCB practice test. Try that. Go to Barnes and Noble and just take a seat a few hours and look through the books. You don't have to take them home. Go to your local library to see if they have those. And then last tip that I would have as far as resources and free resources, ask your pharmacist. Most of all this stuff that is going to be on the test is very hard. I will say that the concepts that you're going to be learning are a little bit overwhelming, but if you take this serious and take these tips serious, you'll be able to do it. The reason why I say recommend to ask the pharmacist, especially new grads, is because they more than likely have resources that they paid for when they were in pharmacy school. When I took my test, the pharmacist that was over me had just graduated 2 years ago, so they had top 200 cards. He provided me with a book about pharmacology. Now it was a little bit more in detail than I needed it to be, but it was helpful. So look into those free resources, guys. Okay, so now as far as using the resources when you're at work, say if you work 40 to 60 hours a week, because pharmacy, you just don't know. One thing that I would recommend for you to do is to start using your colleagues. There's more than likely someone that's working with you that is certified. Ask them how they feel. And if it's all negative, don't pay attention to the negative things that they say.
Listen, you have to pass this test, and it doesn't matter. I promise you, I hated the test, but I got through it. So
here nor there, don't pay attention to the negativity that may come your way, if there is any. But take advantage of the resources that you have around you, like your pharmacist. Ask them questions. When you're filling drugs, like say, if you're filling atorvastatin, you're counting it. In your head, you should be knowing atorvastatin is what I'm counting. The brand name is Lipitor. When you're ringing out customers, one thing that you should say is, hello, Miss Johnson, I have your atorvastatin, or another name is Lipitor. Patients typically know the name brands versus the generic. You should be focusing on generic name brand names when you're at work, because that's just something that you can be doing during your idle time. Okay, so now let's just say you're to the point to where you're ready to take your practice test. One thing that I would recommend, don't wait months to take your practice test. Don't study for months, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna take a practice test. No, go ahead and take the practice test within the first week of studying, and then just see where you're at. See what's going to be on the test, and then you can kind of figure out strengths and weaknesses are, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video. Taking the practice test, you may bomb it. Don't get too scared. I promise you, you're going to get better, and you may do amazing. Now, don't feel that confident. You still need to study. Like, just know that the practice test is just there to kind of familiarize you and how the test is going to work. Now, as far as preparing for the test, let's say you've done all your studying, you've done everything that you could do. Now you're ready to take the test. My recommendation is, do not wait. Don't study, and then you're like, okay, in August, I'm going to take my test, and it's April. No, go ahead and plan for that test to be in June, and then let's just say if you fail, then you have to wait at least 30 to 60 days to retake the test. I don't remember exactly how long it is, but I know it's at least 30 days. But if you have to wait a certain amount of time, then starting in June is more ideal if you have to have your certification by a certain date. So that tip there, I know that was kind of all over the place. One thing, the tip was to recommend plan to take your test at least twice. Now that you know that you're gonna plan to take your test at least twice, now you can kind of figure out how to schedule your studying. So you know that you're working 40 hours a week. Let's just say you're a regular person, because that's not possible, but let's just say you're a regular person, you work 40 hours a week. On the dot, you're out, you're back home. Now you have your kids, you have your husband, or you have whoever it may be. I would recommend take 30 minutes. Start with 30 minutes a day of studying. Don't listen, this isn't college. Don't stress yourself out, because stressing yourself out is not going to be beneficial to you. Try to take 30 minutes a day to study, and then on the weekends just kind of leave it off, and then, you know, maybe 5 days out of the 7 days try to take 30 minutes, and then as you continue to get closer to your date of taking your test, progressively increase it. On your lunch breaks at work, I would definitely be studying if I were you. Now, a lot of you guys asked me in my comments, how long should I study for? I say 2 months max. Do not, if it's April, you shouldn't be planning on taking this test in November, because be realistic. You're going to make an excuse. Life is gonna happen. Things may just go awry. Study and take the test. Get straight to the point. Don't take forever with wanting to figure out, oh, okay, I could just put it off. If you put it off, you ain't gonna never take it. And so that's why now they're making all of us be certified, because we, you know, here nor there, there's other reasons, but just go ahead and take it. You give yourself enough time to take it twice, then it makes it a lot easier if the results don't come back as positive as you like. Now, say if the results come back amazing, you pass on the first time, which is highly likely, then you're done. You're done. You're completely done with what you have to do. Hopefully those tips kind of help. I know they were kind of all over the place. Over the past few months, I've been kind of writing down a few tips. Major things, if you didn't grasp it, I hope you had a pen and a piece of paper to write those things down. But the top 3 things that I recommend is to take advantage of your free resources, to study on the job, to plan to take the test twice. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, or if there are any other pharmacy videos that you guys would like to see, please leave them down below. I am so excited to be back in the business of giving you guys free information, especially because, you know, times are getting hard. We're gonna have to pass this test. All of us are gonna have to be certified, all that stuff, hoopla, hoopla, hoopla. But there shouldn't be a reason why you should have to worry about taking the test if you follow all these tips. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you hadn't already, please make sure to subscribe, and feel free, if you're in a pharmacy Facebook group, or if you have friends that are kind of struggling, share this with them as well. Make sure to give it a like, and I will see you guys in the next one.